Is that your phone?
No, it's not me.
Is that me? I don't usually have my phone on. Oh. I still own a house in Vegas, and
Oh, no way.
I'm renting it, and the tenants are leaving, so I put it back up for rent, and I put my phone number on the rental thing, so now like people just call all the time from 7 to 2.
Did everyone just like up and leave Vegas this week? Is that what's happening?
No, they were right.
They were planning.
Well, that I don't know, maybe, but those tenants were ready to go. It's really weird there. It's like it's like the most transient city I've ever been to.
Yeah.
So it's like people are constantly in and out. Okay. And 3, 2, 1, and
Bloop.
okay. All right. What's your name?
My name is Isabel.
Hi, Isabel. How are you?
Good. I'm glad to be here. How about you?
Oh, I'm good.
How long have you been drawing?
I guess seriously since college. That's where it got kind of more serious.
Did you go to an art school?
Mm-hmm.
What school?
I did undergrad at Loyola Marymount, and I did graduate school at CalArts.
Cool.
Yeah. You grew up in Berkeley?
Yeah. Yeah, I spent 20 years of my life in the same house, basically, in South Berkeley.
What were the schools like there?
Generally really good. The elementary school I went to was sort of less than wonderful, so my parents found a private school for me, and they gave me a really good scholarship, and so I was able to go there, and that was really wonderful. It was like this tiny private school close to Berkeley High that was actually a worker co-op of the teachers.
Oh, cool.
And had kind of come out of the tradition of hedge schools, which is the idea of just like, let's just like take our kids into the forest and like let them explore.
Nice.
So they had actual like school buildings and stuff, but it also like there was almost never homework and everything was really like participatory. So that was really nice. And then I went to Berkeley Public Schools for middle and high school, and Berkeley has really good schools. So
yeah, that's what I hear. I hear Berkeley, the public schools are really good.
yeah. My middle school was King, and that's where the Edible Schoolyard program is. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's really, it's like famous around the country because it was one of the first school garden programs. And a lot of schools have kind of copied their model, which is great. Like every elementary school in Berkeley and every middle school has a garden. So I spent a lot of time in the garden there, and then I dropped out of high school because I just wanted to garden. You can't really take gardening classes in high school, at least not at my high school.
What kind of stuff are you growing now?
Well, I think I told you I was living on this farm for the last year and a half, and I was managing like a 1/4 acre garden there. Had a bunch of all the summer crops, tomatoes and corn, peppers, eggplants, onions, garlic, broccoli, everything you could think of. And the owner had done a bunch of unpermitted grading and building on the site and got involved in some legal battles that I didn't want to get wrapped up in, so I left like in the middle of the season. So it's kind of depressing because I had like this big garden and there was all this like all these green tomatoes and watermelons almost ripe, and I left like right before they were all ready.
That's a bummer.
So both of my parents have little gardens here, but nothing like that.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have one sister, a younger sister, who's going to UCSC right now. And I'm like the kid that didn't do all the things you're supposed to do, and she's the kid that's doing all those things. Really
Yeah.
glad for her. She wants to be a teacher, so I think her major is critical race and ethnic studies, but that's her goal, is to get teaching credentials.
Nice.
And to come back to the Bay Area to teach.
He gets kind of whiny. He's a funny dog. He's I've had her for a while, and then one day we were just walking in Las Vegas one morning, and he followed us home. He started following us, and I felt bad for him because he was in really bad shape. He didn't look like that back then. He was like really patchy. He was missing a ton of fur, and then he. And so I just put out water and a little bit of food for him outside, and I went to work, and then I came back and he was still there. And so I felt really bad for him. And so we took him in and took him to the vet, started feeding him, and we've just had him ever since. But
sweetie.
he's a good boy, but he kind of just whines a lot. And then I used to think, oh, maybe he like has pain or something, you know?
Yeah.
And but it's like anything. It's like getting, like, he wants to get off the bed and he whines, so someone will like take him off the bed.
Oh, he
And
can't
then,
get on and off the bed by himself.
He can. Like, we even put a chair there for him. Like, he totally can. He just like wants help. And then when he's down on the ground, then he whines because he wants to go up, and it's just like, so he whines when he's hungry. He whines. He just whines all the time.
Yeah. My dad's house, we have a cat. And I love cats because they just do their thing. You don't have to. They don't whine. At least our cat doesn't. And maybe there's some cats out there, but it's nice to have a pet that just keeps to themselves and needs basically no care.
Yeah, we had a cat too.
Yeah.
She passed away, but yeah, she was really great, and we've been talking about getting another cat.
You have a whole zoo in here.
What's that?
You had a snake, 2 dogs, cat. This is a small place.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about that too. Like, maybe we should wait until we have a house.
Yeah, what I like about cats is that it feels like, well, I guess that he was a stray and he chose to be with you was pretty cool, but like that the cat will just leave and then come back whenever they want. Like they're not tied down to you. They just come to you because you have food, but otherwise they don't belong to you. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel weird to like the idea of like confining an animal. So it's cool to just like. Once I took my cat to the vet and I put her in a box on my bike trailer, and she jumped out of the box on the way home, and I didn't realize until we got home. I just got home and the box was empty.
Oh no.
And I was freaking out and assumed that we looked for her but we couldn't find her, and I was like, maybe she died, like who knows. And like 4 days later she just comes like walking in like nothing happened. Like,
yeah, our cat was we got her when she was a kitten, and she just like always wanted to be outside. From the time she was a kitten, she would just like bug, like she wanted to go outside. So finally it was like, fine, like just go out there, because we kind of wanted her to just be an indoor cat. And then and we had her for years, and she would just kind of go in and out. And then we moved to Alameda, and she would go in and out of there.
cool.
And she was just like very free, and she would always come back. And then one day she didn't come back. And then she finally came home, and she had gotten hit by a car. It was really sad.
But she was still alive, or
Yeah,
she
she
died
was like
soon
really
after?
injured.
Wow, oh man.
Yeah, it was like really rough. So then we had to take her to the vet and basically like put her down.
That's hard.
Yeah. So
have you drawn anyone besides Kira for this project? Or like in this
No,
format?
not in this format. I've done a bunch of studies, but you're basically number 2.
Cool.
Yeah. But I want to keep it going. It's like when I went to college, especially when I went to grad school, like this is just like very much what I wanted to do. I just wanted to paint or just make art, and it was really tough. It's really tough. Like, I mean, it's the same. It's like what everybody tells you. It's like, duh, you know.
To make a living doing it?
Yeah, it's like impossible. It's like I don't know how anybody does it, but
Yeah.
you know, I would like go to New York and stuff, and I would go to the galleries often, and you would just see paintings for like $30,000, $50,000 sometimes, and I was like, well, like these people are doing it, you know?
Yeah.
People are doing it, and but it just didn't quite work out, and then just personal life kind of stuff gets in the way and stuff like that, and jobs and moves and just all that stuff, and then so I started doing studies, and like I used to substitute teach, and
Oh, yeah?
I would just like sit and like draw faces, like photographs and stuff like that. And so I just like really like drawing people's faces. Oops, get out there, buddy.
There's just like grapes in there and they're in a clamshell, so.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Oh, it's
I wasn't thinking when I set it down there.
He's like gotten into so much stuff. Yesterday he like got into the trash. So I came home from work
Oh,
and there's just like
no.
trash everywhere. One time he got into these like edible brownies, and he ate like, I feel like he probably ate the equivalent of probably like 3 doses for a human.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
he's not a very big dog, and
No.
so we were really worried, but he was fine.
Did he act stoned at all?
Totally, yeah. He was like really just like lazy and just like laid around. He was like very unstable when he walked around and stuff.
I wonder what a dog is thinking when something like that happens to them.
Yeah, I felt bad.
Like, I've been drugged.
Yeah. Yeah, so I always really liked drawing people and faces and stuff, and then I got this idea because everything just seems so related to like basically good work at regular intervals, like shared out like digitally, you know. So it was like, oh, like this is a way that I could do that, and I think that I could. I think it's something that like has legs and would like build steam, and if I just do one a week, which is like it's not a hard pace, you know, for me.
Yeah, totally.
And if I could do one a week, then I feel like that would be enough of like regular intervals where over time it would build, and then maybe I could just do this, and only this.
That would be wonderful. Yeah. What do you do when you're not making art?
I got a job out here teaching basically digital media. So one of the things that I did where I would make money was doing graphic design. So I know the programs really well, like Photoshop, Illustrator, stuff like that. And then increasingly, I feel like more so up here, people are like really into motion graphics. So basically like lower thirds, like when it introduces somebody's name, like in a documentary or something like that, like the way that like the name and stuff like comes in a graphic way, or like logos, like logo animation, or you know, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's all in this program, After Effects. So I would say mostly I'm an After Effects teacher.
Where do you teach?
At Expression College in Emeryville.
Oh, cool. I know a couple kids who went there. I don't think any of them were there for... The people I knew who went there for music production.
Yeah, they have a couple of different music production programs, and they have a digital film program. And that's the department that I'm teaching in right now is digital film. So like basically like After Effects to like film students, which is really cool.
Rad.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would be fun work.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I find that I really like film students. They're really cool because I really love movies. And it's just cool at that age. Like, well, I mean, people your age.
Yeah.
People that are your age that are just like really into like cool, weird movies, you know? And
Oh
they
yeah,
have
I
like
bet.
really awesome suggestions, and it's cool. I really love the kids that are like into horror movies because they always know like the really cool, weird ones.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I was like that when I was that age.
Where were you a sub?
In Vegas,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Clark County School District. I did that for about 2 years.
What are the schools like there?
Rough.
Yeah.
They have I want to say it was the highest dropout rate in the
Jeez.
entire, yeah, that of all the school districts in the country. I feel like it was either the worst or like the second or third worst, but it was like really bad. And so the school systems are really rough. But it's one of the few places where they still have teachers. So there's a lot of teachers like coming in, especially like the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of teachers up there and not enough jobs. So a lot of them end up in Las Vegas.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I guess maybe the types of people who want to be teachers might not be as excited about living in Vegas as living in Portland or Seattle or something.
Yeah, for sure. And then I used to think about it all the time too, like why is this school system so bad? Like why are these kids so out of control? And I honestly think it's like it's just the schedule and the pace of the town, you know? So you have a lot of parents that are not going to be doing a lot of not a lot of parenting when you have like a graveyard shift, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. Right, if the whole town's built around that kind of those industries, then
Yeah.
everybody's working crazy shifts.
And in some ways, it's like really awesome too, because it's one of the few places where, really anybody can go and get a job and make pretty decent money and be able to buy a house because the cost of living is not bad at all.
Uh-huh.
And so in some ways, it's like really great, but then I just feel like there just like isn't enough for kids to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like not a town for young people. Well, like underage people.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's interesting how some towns are and aren't, and some aren't, and I wonder what makes them that way. I guess if living in a college town, if you're a teenager, is nice because there's always going to be some things going on.
Yeah, I feel like from what I've seen, that seems like the best. I feel like little college towns seem like the best place to raise kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like Berkeley, and I've thought about moving to like Eugene or Olympia or basically other towns that are kind of the same. Or Santa Cruz. It's like this too.
Yeah, there's a lot of great places in Colorado too. One time I went to this place called Fort Collins. They have a university up there, and it seems like a really great place to raise kids. And then Boulder, of course, seems really great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm struggling with, like, because I really ideally don't want to live in the city. Like, I kind of think humans need to de-urbanize to try to live more sustainably. But trying to buy, like, land and anywhere in California would probably just be way too expensive. So I'm trying to figure out where to go. I don't know, like I've thought, oh man, I could go to Idaho and there's just like so much space. There's nobody there. Land is really cheap, but I don't know if I could handle Idaho winters.
Yeah, it seems
But
pretty rough.
Colorado or Oregon or Washington, maybe. I don't know.
I think about Canada sometimes too.
Yeah?
Yeah, sometimes I think Montreal would be really nice. I feel like the French thing seems really nice.
Have you spent any time in Canada?
Yeah, British Columbia, Vancouver, and Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly Victoria.
I've never been to Canada. I've never been to Mexico either.
Mexico's nice. I feel like it's kind of hit or miss. Canada's really great.
Mexico's hit or miss.
Yeah. I feel like I've had not great experiences in Mexico.
I don't think I would go to Mexico unless I was traveling with someone from Mexico.
Yeah, definitely. I have an uncle that lived in Mexico City for a really long time.
Oh, yeah?
And I remember we used to go down and visit him. This would have been in the 80s. It's better now, but I remember back in the 80s, I have this distinct memory of driving around in his car with the windows down, and the smog was so bad. It was like it would sting your eyes to be outside.
Wow.
And
That's insane.
they always used to talk about how birds would fall out of the sky.
Oh, my God.
I don't know if that's a myth or not, but that's what people
Yeah.
would definitely say.
Yeah, I have some relatives in Mexico City, too. I'm not close with them. I've never gone to see them, but it'd be interesting. I think they're, like, really wealthy. Just sort of weird to go live in Mexico and be wealthy. I mean, yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and there were really great things about Mexico City and just like really beautiful history and beautiful architecture and amazing museums and stuff, but I don't know, that's just, I feel like it's not for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be really cool to visit. I don't know, to go up to Vancouver, explore those islands or something.
Yeah, I had a really lovely time there. I was, it was a long time ago, but I was 19 at the time, and I lived there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was just like, it's really hard to find work if you are not a citizen there.
Oh, yeah. So what does Kira do, if that's okay to ask?
She's a bartender
Oh, cool. Where at?
at, it used to be called T-Rex in Berkeley. Now it's District 1.
Mm-hmm. She works right there and you guys never go to Gilman? That's crazy.
I know, right? Yeah, bands go in there quite a bit too, and she tells me about that. It seems really cool.
Me and my friends used to always walk by that place when we were teenagers and fantasize about throwing things through their, like, massive glass window lined with liquor bottles.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised no one has. Someone must
So
have. I bet.
tempting.
Yeah.
It's been so sad to watch that neighborhood be developed. I'm sure it's good for their business there, but it's just a bummer.
Like developed how?
I mean, it used to just be like, there was Pyramid Brewery, but it was just like warehouses and stuff, and now there's like a
a
whole
Whole Foods.
Paycheck, and there's like
Yeah.
a overpriced coffee store, overpriced donut store,
Yeah.
like, you can get all these things, it costs a lot of money. It's, I mean, whatever. It's not like Berkeley was like some, I guess, I mean, I was going to say Berkeley was always like more affluent than Oakland, so it's silly to talk about gentrification in Berkeley, but I do feel like West Berkeley was a haven for artists because it was affordable and mostly just full of warehouses. And that kind of development is part of this decades-long process of artists and weirdos being pushed out, you know?
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if that's what I feel since I've been out here, where I feel like I don't really know like where to go, like where things seem like I don't know where there's like a smell. You know what I mean? Like a place
Yeah.
like that, either in San Francisco or Berkeley, because you very much get the sense that like that kind of wild and weird creative community is you totally. I mean, I've only been here 2 years, and you get that sense that it's being pushed out
Yeah.
because it's just like really hard to live here.
Yeah. But it's amazing because I feel like that kind of stuff is still going on. Do you know the Octopus Literary Saloon?
Yeah.
I've never actually been to a show there, but I keep hearing about it. It's interesting because Gilman is usually the only venue that is like will put on really cheap shows that isn't like a house venue.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently the Octopus is pretty cheap, and it's like anyone can book an event almost like.
I'll have to check it out. I'm definitely familiar with it. I haven't been though, but I walk past it a lot.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I really want to go to that place, and I don't know. I feel like there's places in the city that are kind of... I never went to a show at the Smell. I went there to, like, deliver newspapers.
Uh-huh.
That's my shirt says Slingshot. I work on this radical newspaper. And I have copies if you want one.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, sometimes when I would visit LA, I would ride my bike around and deliver newspapers to all of the places where fellow weirdos hang out.
Yeah.
Which is a really fun way to explore a city, you know, to like ask friends for like a list of bookstores or cafes or whatever that were kind of alternative, and then go around trying to find all of them and trying to pawn off free newspapers on them.
Yeah, definitely. What's your newspaper like?
It's called a radical newspaper, which means that like we just publish, I guess, what a normal newspaper would call like op-ed articles.
Mm-hmm.
We only publish 3 times a year, so we don't really do news, but like there will be some things that are like somewhat current. Like the last few issues have had at least one, but usually more articles focused on the resistance to the Dakota Access Pipeline
Mm-hmm.
or similar projects. But a lot of it will just be people ranting about their ideas about things. I guess it's not only explicitly anarchists that write for the paper, but generally like that's who writes for us, and we're a collective, so every issue is different. Like there's kind of a core group of people that have been working on it since I've been there, but also random people will float in every time and make art or write articles for us. So I really enjoy it because the collective basically just comes together 4 times a year for a few weekends
Mm-hmm.
to make a paper, and then once a year we print this what we call the Slingshot Organizer, which is like a radical daily planner.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just a daily planner, but it has cool art on the pages, and it has historical dates for every day of like, oh, this massive demonstration happened in this year in this place, or this important person was born, or whatever. And it has a list in the back of radical spaces like cafes and info shops and DIY venues all over the world.
Oh, how cool.
So it's really rad because we sell the organizer and we distribute the paper often to the same cafes and bookstores.
Mm-hmm.
And the sale of the organizer supports the paper, so we can distribute the paper for free. And we also usually have leftover money to donate to other organizations. So it's like probably the only like volunteer collective that has extra money at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's really a blessing. And so I'm part of the collective in the capacity of I do layout, and I just wrote an article for the first time, but mostly I do layout. That's what I enjoy. And we do all the layout with, are you familiar with waxers?
Mm-mm.
I don't obviously know modern graphic designers using a waxer, but back in the day when they made newspapers, there are these little machines that distribute like a thin layer of wax on the back of the paper. So the great thing about it is it's restickable.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll print out the type for the articles, but otherwise like all the graphics, all the like headers and stuff, we just draw by hand and photocopy and cut and paste all of this together.
Oh, cool.
And so we can't just send it to the printer. We have to take it to like a specialty printer and have them scan it, because nobody does stuff like that, and everyone's just used to receiving computer files, you know?
Yeah, like
so we have
InDesign.
these like really old school people scan it for us, and they know that like, oh, if a piece falls off, they have to stick it back on or whatever. So it's really fun. I really love to draw, but I'm not like I don't have enough vision to like make art pieces and then put them into the world, and I'm not skilled enough to do what you do, to do portraiture of something. So I like doing newspaper layout because it's like it feels artistic, but it's still like pretty low pressure.
Yeah.
The focus is on the articles, so your art is just kind of like gets thrown in there, you know.
Oh, that was half.
Oh wow.
Okay. Do you want a break? Do you want some water or anything?
I think I'm okay if you want to keep going, but if you want to take a break, that's fine.
I'm good. Okay. 3, 2, 1, and
Bloop.
that little click really helps to sync it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you can see the spike in the audio, so you just like line those up.
Oh. So when you have all these audio sources, do you like just put them all? Do you just have them all going over each other at the same time, or do you like pick and choose different ones for different points?
I mix them. So there's a program called Audition, and so you can go in there and you can like mix the levels. You can like even with this, like that mic's like really good and really close on you, and then with the lapel, but it's still gonna pick up like kind of noise, like room tone and stuff. So I take that down a little bit, kind of equalize it to like just make the voices sound better, and then I mix my channel and that channel together so it sounds, you know, seamless.
Mm-hmm.
And then that does a very nice job. The camera audio does a nice job of getting like sometimes like the neighbor has chimes, so sometimes it'll get like some of the chimes and stuff.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Because these ones are more like directional, kind of.
Yeah.
Mm.
And and then I just mix it together, export that audio file, lay it in Premiere with the video file,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's it. Export it, and then I'll key out the green behind you, and then do you have a favorite color?
Ooh. Black. Sorry, that's really cliche. I don't know if black would work for this though.
Yeah, it has to be.
You
more
need
of, like,
actually a
pigment.
color. Well, I'm wearing a blue shirt, so I can't say red because then it'll be like noxious combination. Green?
Oh, look kind of nice.
I guess it already is green.
I
No,
can
you
make
pick a color. I can't decide.
I can make it like a prettier green, more like a digital green,
As opposed to.
as opposed to just like kind of gross green screen.
Does green screen have to be a certain shade, or can you kind of get anything that's like that sort of bright?
I feel like you can do a pretty good job with whatever. There's a little plug-in on Premiere called Key. Well, I use After Effects to key it out, but you can use Premiere too, and you can just like select that color, and it will take everything out that looks
Wow.
like it. Yeah.
So if I was wearing that color too, it would take me out.
Yeah, it would take that out too.
So ultimately, you don't really need green. You just need a color that your subject isn't wearing or doesn't have on their body.
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh.
I guess if it was like a blue screen, I could probably do that too. But then I feel like there's like more blue, and I don't know, it seems like there's like blue in people's like pigment or in their eyes
Yeah.
or stuff like that, so it doesn't do as good of a job.
So this is everyone uses this color because nobody ever puts on clothes like that or has that in their face or anything.
Yeah, no one has it like in their skin.
Huh.
What year did you graduate?
I didn't graduate. I would have.
That's right, you mentioned that.
I would have graduated in 2013, but
13.
when I was 15, I took the CHISP, which is like the GED.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Do you
I
feel
don't know.
like you should have finished, or do you wish that or do you feel fine with what you did?
I mean, it was okay. I feel like I was being kind of immature. Like, I felt that school was the worst thing on earth. I actually did well in school and enjoyed it up until high school, and then I decided that I wanted to be a farmer, and so then I was like, this is getting me nowhere, like, school is just holding me back, and my parents were like, come on, just finish school, it's not that big of a deal, you know? But I insisted that I had to drop out, and I guess my parents are pretty chill because eventually they let me. I mean, it's cool. You can take this test and it's like $100 and then you like save 2.5 years of your
definitely.
life. But I also feel like finishing high school wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I don't know. The main thing I felt like was that Berkeley High is a good school, and even though lower achieving students were expected to go to college, and there was this idea of like, let's help everyone go to college, and I had already decided I didn't want to go to college. And there weren't any vocational classes there. The closest thing they had was art classes. It was the only thing hands-on. So I was like, why bother? If this is just like college prep, then I may as well leave.
Yeah.
Even though I took film photo there and I loved it, and after I left school.
Oh shoot! I gotta
What's
take
up?
a break. That's never happened to me before. It said that it was getting too hot. It heated up.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it needs just a minute to break.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, we'll just take a quick moment and let it cool down and then finish up.
Can I see what you have? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we'll give it a few minutes and then start again. I think it's just because it's kind of stuffy in here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but my photo teacher was really cool, and she let me like keep coming to class after I wasn't in school anymore.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I would just like go to school and just go to the photo studio for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And hang out with my friends on their lunch. And I just started working when I was 16, so I'm glad I did that.
What job did you have?
I worked at a farmer's market stand for a little while, and then I worked in a community garden, or sort of like this, I don't know, it was like a city program kind of community garden. Mm-hmm. And then I was kind of just like, taking different like paid internships that were really fun. And then when I turned 18, I actually got like a real job, so I was still living with my dad, but I wanted to contribute to household expenses, so I started working in food service. Mm-hmm. And eventually I got a job at a collective bakery, and that was awesome. I worked there for 1.5 years.
That's cool.
And the bakery was totally disorganized and falling apart, and so like they gave me a lot of responsibility really fast, and so it was great because it was just like my bakery, and I had keys, I could go there whenever I wanted. I worked like middle of the night shift by myself, and so I would just listen to music really loud and like eat cookies the whole time and have my friends over to visit and stuff.
That's awesome.
And it was just like a really chill environment in general. Like, it was just a collective of 12 of us, so. But it kind of like consumed my life. And then the bakery was clearly going under, and I was like, you guys, like, we need to file for bankruptcy. This isn't working. And like, they were all like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And so I quit, and then it did close like a little while later.
How come you think it went under? Just not enough business?
This is something that I still think about all the time. I feel like the business was like, are you familiar with Arizmendi or Cheese Board?
Yeah.
So they do really well, and they're able to pay their employees well. I think the thing that's the main difference between the bakery I worked at, Navalom, and a bakery like Arizmendi or Cheese Board is like having like pizza is a really profitable product.
Yeah.
I think like
so the ingredients are so cheap.
Yeah, and pastries, and like coffee is actually like the profit margin on coffee is generally high, but pastries I think are not so much. So our bakery just sold pastries like that. We just had pastries and coffee. And it was kind of like this relic from the 70s. It had like really intense hippie vibes, and a lot of the customers were like old school Berkeley people who were like still coming there. Is it working, do you think?
I think so. Just gotta get you in focus again.
So I don't know. I'd like to think that the restaurant industry is just so competitive in the Bay Area that you have to be really on top of things to succeed.
Yeah.
And it didn't really feel like we weren't really business oriented. Like we never raised our prices because we just wanted our pastries to be affordable to everyone. And there was different, like one meeting, like a collective member proposed that we refuse to serve police officers. So like if a cop comes in, we'll just say, sorry, you gotta leave. We're not gonna we're not gonna serve you. And then if we decided we actually we would serve them if they came in, and they didn't come in very often, so it was fine. But stuff like that, like everybody working there was just like, they were all like radicals. They weren't like business people.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of why. I really believe in the collective model. Like I believe in workplace democracy. And so I'm glad to see like these other co-ops thriving. But unfortunately, or I guess it's fortunate, but I'm not sure. A few cheese board veterans bought the bakery after it closed, and they reopened it as it's not a collective, they just own it now.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell cheese board pizza, or cheese board style pizza, you know, like thin crust and stuff. And they've only had it running now for like 2 years. So I think they might be just starting to break even, but they're doing better than we were for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of cleaned the place up. It doesn't have such a hippie aesthetic. And I think pizza's helping them. So it kind of makes me sad because it's like, oh, you could take this collective and turn it into like a more traditional business model and then it succeeds. What does that say? But I just don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because I really believe in like the empowerment that comes from owning the business that you work for.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically everyone I know who has a job like hates, not everyone, but like so many people hate their bosses or are frustrated with management and feel like if it was more participatory, like things could go better. And so I would love to see more collective businesses.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that I haven't seen a lot of other places in here. I think it's really cool that that's part of the culture here.
Yeah.
And in
Absolutely.
other places, like, I mean, yeah, even especially in Vegas, but even in LA, it's just very corporate dominated. I mean, Vegas, absolutely. Like, that's very much it's a corporate town.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of those old timers will talk about how things were better when, like, the mafia ran things.
Oh, shit.
And in a way, it's like, okay, like, if you get past, like, the violence and stuff, if you just, like, don't think about that part of it, that ultimately, it is now, like, a mom and pop business, you know what I mean? It's, like, independently run. It's, like, run by, like, an entity that you can talk to, you know, as opposed to, like, now, like, the corporations that run the casino now, it's like, well, who actually really runs this place, right?
Yeah, right, because it's, like, the stockholders sort of are, I guess, are the, yeah.
And then you have these people like Sheldon Adelson and stuff that are these like big moguls that like contribute to like the Trump campaign and stuff like that. And
I'm not familiar with that person. Do they own a lot of stuff in Vegas?
Yeah, he owns the Sands Casino, and I think a couple others as well. But he's like just like very conservative and contributes to these big like Republican campaigns and stuff like that. And I don't know. It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, totally. I guess I'm blissfully ignorant about anything that happens in the world of Vegas or gambling.
But yeah, even when I was younger, because I think I was kind of the same way. Like, I really didn't want to go to college at all. I think I ended up going to college. I mean, it really was just art. I went for a couple of years. No, how long did I go? I went for about a year. And I was just doing G's, and then I dropped out. And I just like didn't know what I was doing there, you know? It just kind of like made no sense. And I feel like I just went, and I was also always working. And
that's hard to study and work.
Yeah. And then I met a girl that I was always creative. I liked writing and stuff, and I always really liked movies. And I met a girl that was an art student, and I just really liked what she was doing, and it just seemed like what I wanted to do.
So did you transfer, or you were kind of aimless for a little while before you went to CalArts?
Yeah, then I went back to Loyola Marymount, and then went to art school, and did that and really liked it. And then I think a lot of it was just like the time in Los Angeles at that time, like the early 2000s. It was really exciting, like artistically, like all these like really great galleries were popping up, and
Cool.
like really really cool art. And I remember I used to go to all these shows and stuff, and it was like, oh, like how do like I mean, just the obvious questions, right? Like how do these people get these shows here? And I just found that everyone had like an MFA, like a master's degree, and I'm like, oh, so it's like somehow you like need this degree, or you need to go to like a certain type of school or something like that. And then I started looking more into it, and I learned more about like the teachers that were teaching at these different schools, and I really like the instructors that were at CalArts. Like they just had like a really interesting approach. Yeah, so I applied to a few different schools and got into CalArts and went and really liked it.
Cool.
But yeah, I feel like art was the only thing, like when I look back on teenage years and even early 20s and stuff, I feel like I was just like really lazy and didn't really like do anything. I just like didn't care about anything. And I feel like art was the only thing where I would like stay up late at night like working on something, you know. That was like really the first time.
Yeah.
Because like it wasn't like for school, it wasn't like for studying for grades, like I just didn't care.
Yeah. A friend of my dad's teaches at an art school in LA, and I can't remember what it's called. I wonder if it is CalArts. I wonder if it's a different one.
LA is also a really interesting city because there's like 9 different like really really good graduate art programs.
Oh yeah.
Like USC has a really good graduate art program. CalArts, UCLA has an amazing graduate art program. And then even schools that are Southern California but not exactly LA, like UC Irvine has a pretty good program.
Oh really?
Otis has a really good program. So just like going to galleries like on a Saturday night, it was like really cool. There was just like so many different people, students, art collectors, you know, and then because it's LA, like then it's like, it becomes like shishi to like collect art. So it's like, you know,
Yeah.
like one time I saw like Danny DeVito at the UCLA Open Studios
No
and
way.
stuff. And yeah, he was really awesome. Yeah, so it was really neat.
That sounds exciting.
And then I guess I just wanted to get away just to kind of focus more on my work and stuff, because it was, I was just like really living not a very healthy lifestyle, like towards the end.
Yeah. Wait, so you were like, oh, I'm not living a very healthy lifestyle. I'm gonna move to Vegas?
No, I went to New Mexico first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of true, huh?
No, I'm just joking. Where in New Mexico were you?
I was in Albuquerque.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the art scene like there?
I mean, it's not like super avant-garde, like the kind of stuff that it died again. Man,
Oh, no,
what is
really?
going on with this camera? It doesn't usually do this. All right, how about if we do one more go around and then we'll call it?
Yeah, sounds good.
So I'll let it breathe just for a couple of minutes. Yeah, that should do us. So we've been going for 49 minutes, so I think that'll be good. 10 more minutes and then we can call it.
Okay.
So it's not really, you don't have like really amazing like weird stuff, you know, that like they have, I feel like in Los Angeles or New York. But there's just like a lot of really beautiful paintings, and there's definitely a lot of good art there. Like in Santa Fe, there's a stretch. It's just like a road. I can't remember what the road is called, but it's just like galleries like on either side, and like houses in different areas, and just like really beautiful paintings. A lot of it is Yeah, like so it's like landscape paintings or like some of it's like paintings of like cowboys or just stuff that you would think of.
Yeah,
But
totally.
but really beautiful stuff. And New Mexico's like it really is like a really magical place to be. I miss it
Hmm.
sometimes. Um, it's like very strange extremes.
Hmm.
And when you're there, like you really feel like kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Even in town there?
Yeah,
Wow, that's cool.
yeah,
It feels like the opposite here.
totally, yeah. Because like in Albuquerque, even it's like, so you have Albuquerque, which is like not a big city, but then once you go out of Albuquerque, there's just like nothing for like a good hour, and then you hit Santa Fe, and that's a teeny tiny town, and then after Santa Fe, then there's just like nothing.
Hmm.
But I don't know, I really liked it. And then there's kind of like a tradition of like really amazing artists that have gone there. I think for the same reason to kind of like get away. So like George O'Keeffe and
Hmm.
other painters and stuff.
Hmm.
So I was really into that idea for a while, but I was married at the time, and I think my wife at the time just like really didn't like it. I think it was too isolated for her.
Uh-huh.
And then she had family in Las Vegas, and she had a couple of brothers that lived there, and it was closer to LA, so like closer to my
Yeah.
family, and so it was like, all right, well, I guess I'm open to it. And so then we went to Vegas, and then I was there. I think we were there for 2 years, and then we split up, and then I stayed for about 4 years after that.
Hmm. Tell me if I should put a certain part of my face in a certain position.
Oh no, you're good.
I really like the idea of art modeling in general, but I like have no experience, so I guess the two prerequisites are just being comfortable with your body and being like flexible and able to hold a pose.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
know
like I
if I'm
did
able to hold a pose.
a lot more figurative drawing when I was in college because there
Yeah.
were like we would actually take classes like figure drawing classes and stuff like that. So there were a
Hmm.
lot of different models that would come in, and I mean that was another thing too. Sometimes I'm like, man, I really should have studied something else. Like I probably should have like gone to law school or something. But then when I look back, it's like that was just like a really wonderful way to like spend my 20s, my early 20s, just like thinking about art and drawing, and
Yeah, totally.
it was like really great, and it's still great. I feel like just like really happy when I'm working on something like this.
Hmm.
Okay, let's give it one more go. Okay. Okay, just gotta work on your lips a little bit. Sorry about the flies. It's
No, it's okay.
this time of year, and then I like to have it open so the dogs can go in and out. But then it's like then the flies just get in, and then so I put up that curtain,
Hmm.
and they still get in.
Yeah.
But then once it starts to cool down in the day, then it's fine.
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay. Does your newspaper, does it have a website?
We do. None of us are like really good at web things. So usually we'll upload the articles onto the website, but it takes us a while.
Mm-hmm.
Our circulation is 22,000, so
Oh, that's not bad.
There's probably more copies than there need to be. Probably there's no reason for anyone even to bother looking online for it. We send it all over the world. The thing that is most compelling about the project for me personally is that we send it to about 2,500 incarcerated folks. And as far as I'm concerned, like, the rest of the 20,000 copies could just get burned or used as toilet paper. But the prisoners we send it to, I think, really appreciate it because they have really limited reading materials. And so...
Did you have to go through, like, a lot of, like, weird clearances or whatever to, like, get it so that they would allow it?
As far as I know, no. We send it, like, in, like, these bulk mailings through the post office. So it's not just, like, an envelope with an address written on it. It's all, like computerized and printed and stuff. So I think that the prisons accept it because it's like it's a publication. It's not just like someone's art project.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. That's a great question. I work with a Books to Prisoners project that sends, even though they're not a publisher, they send everything through through an actual bookstore using their address because that's the only way to get it into the prisons. I guess I'm not sure about this, but I guess that means that if you're just an individual with a friend inside, you can't necessarily send them books or newspapers. You have to send it from the publisher, you know?
Yeah.
But we definitely have to be careful what we print because, like, all of us strongly believe in, like, prison abolition and are really upset with police violence and conditions in prisons. And
so prison abolition, like, there should be no prisons?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously, like, there not being prisons would also be contingent on, like, developing whole different ways of organizing ourselves as human beings and relating to each other in more positive ways. But I feel like mostly it's just, like, a focus on, like, restorative justice, so not just, like, rather than punitive justice, you know?
Yeah.
So how can we help the people who've committed crimes to grow and heal? And obviously prisons are doing an awful job. Well, not necessarily. Like, some people are like, I needed to, like, just be put in that shitty situation. And some prisons are better funded or prisoners have better treatment than others. But I feel like for the most part, like, prisoners are treated really inhumanely, and it's not, like, and many of them, if they're released, return to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Not because they're necessarily bad people, because it perpetuates a cycle. So obviously it wouldn't make sense to just release every prisoner today.
Mm-hmm.
But we need to develop some other way of dealing with conflict and crime in our society. I think. I have no idea what might be a good alternative, like, but yeah, we'll often write or draw things that are kind of controversial, and sometimes our mail gets sent back from the prisons. Oh, and they'll have these little forms that say, like, your publication, like, threatens the security of our facility. Huh. And it sucks when people don't get their mail, but also we're always kind of, like, secretly happy because we're like, we do want to threaten the security of your facility, you know? So one of the things I have to do today is draw art for the envelope that the newspapers get sent out into the prisoners. And the first idea I had, because usually I'll draw, like, bikes or gardens or something else, but it feels kind of cruel to, like, send prisoners art about bikes and gardens and other things that they don't have access to, you know?
Yeah.
So I was thinking about drawing a graphic that is like a prison yard, but, like, the buildings have become cracked and plants are growing through them, and some people have built a skate park out of like into the prison yard, and then everyone's just skating. Like it's not a prison anymore. They're all just like hanging out and having fun.
Oh, cool.
But I was like, I don't like this might get rejected. I might have to like draw something more neutral, kind of. So I don't know. I have to I have to think of some other idea.
And it goes out 4 times a year, you said?
Usually 3. Some years there's been 4. Some years there's been 2. Because we just like tell everyone we know to send us articles. So if nobody sends us articles, then we like don't have paper. Or sometimes people just send us really bad articles, and we like are like, I don't know, should we print this? Like, but yeah, we just made an issue last weekend.
Oh, cool.
So it came back from the printer today. I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice.
I have a bunch of copies in my bag, and on my way over, I was like stopping in random places and like putting them here and there. We distribute, I think, thousands of copies just by biking around the East Bay, like being like, hey, do you think I could leave a stack of free newspapers here? And people are like, oh, I guess. Like,
Most people are pretty cool about it.
well, I mean, if it's like a alternative bookstore or cafe, they will be. I'm sure there's, if I brought it into like a Starbucks, they'd be like, nope, you know. Or sometimes I'll bring them places like mom and pop laundromats in like West Oakland, and I'm like, these people seem like they don't care very much, but like they'll probably just recycle them at the end of the day or whatever, you know, like, I don't know.
What's one of the articles in the current issue?
There's one that I rather like about that's someone who was at Standing Rock talking about like the last couple days there about camp being broken up and stuff.
Man, I feel like you don't hear about that much in the news anymore, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little bit late to be publishing something like that. This event they're talking about was in February. But the article ends with like enough of like a kind of analysis that it could potentially still be relevant. I don't know.
What's going on up there now?
That's a great question. As far as I know, nothing. Like a large part of the camp was on this one Native American woman's land.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd imagine she still owns her land, but the pipeline is built and the oil is flowing, like, and there's no, like, there might be people who are campaigning to get it for them to, like, shut off the pipeline. I wish I knew more about it, I'm sorry. But I think people kind of gave up when they broke up the camp, when Trump went back on Obama's promise to protect them. So, but that article's interesting. I helped edit an article about the phenomena of men getting together in men's groups to discuss feminism and to work on themselves as feminists. That was written by a really angry lady who's like, you guys are just, you're engaging in these like masturbatory sessions of being like, oh, I'm such a good man feminist, like, and you're not actually practicing feminism. And a bunch of people didn't want to publish the article because they were like, this is just man bashing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have to like hear the meeting to see before I have an opinion, but on the face of it, that actually sounds pretty commendable to me. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different other things that those guys could be doing with their time.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, someone like trying to practice feminism is better than them not trying.
Yeah, or even just having a dialogue of just like, what does that even mean, you know?
Yeah. But I think the author made some interesting points about ways to other ways to practice feminism. One of the funniest ones was like, do your dishes. Like, Women always do men's dishes. Like, and I'm like, not always, even though a lot of the time that's true. But I wrote an article about sobriety. Or not just, I wrote it about drug use and sobriety.
Are you sober?
Yeah, I've been sober for like 2.5 years.
Oh, cool.
And I feel like it's not really an accomplishment because I wasn't addicted to drugs at any point, which I'm really grateful for. Like, I tried things but didn't become reliant on them. So I didn't go through like the pain that people who actually had to break like chemical and psychological addiction went through. And I really respect those people. But I still am like just glad that I used to just like drink and stay up too late and not get anything done, and I'm glad that I'm a little bit more productive and functional and take better care of myself now. So
Yeah, I feel like definitely when I was in my 20s and stuff, I mean, even continuing on, to be honest, but it's, yeah, it's easy to get carried away.
yeah.
Okay, what are we at? 107. Okay, we can probably call it. Do you have any last words? Do you have any words for posterity, for humanity?
Whoa, that's a tall order. Well, I realize I didn't say anything about this in our hour-long conversation, but it would be great if we could talk more about climate change in general, because I feel like it's happening, and it's like, oh my god, we're all pretending like this isn't happening. This is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
These are my words for humanity, I guess.
Cool, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Doodle-doodle-doo. That's so cool.